I want to thank everybody for joining today's Code Ninjas conference call. My name is Marty Flanagan. I am the Vice President of Franchising with Code Ninjas, and I host these calls every single week live with a little interactive part with the Q&A section, the question and answer section. And I've been hosting these calls in the U.S. and Canada for about 2.5 years, and now for the last couple of months in the U.K. since we've launched out and the Code Ninjas launched in the U.K. So these calls are pretty simple. They have the same format, which is the first 10 or 15 minutes, I give you a brief history and introduction to Code Ninjas. And then from there, I open it up to any questions you may have, and we do a live Q&A where you're able to virtually raise your hand and ask any questions you have regarding Code Ninjas, whether it be something I mentioned today during this call, or if it's something that you've read or you've seen and you want to learn more about. These calls typically have anywhere from 20 to 50 attendees per call. They can last anywhere from 30 minutes up to an hour and 30 minutes, really depending upon your questions and how long you would like to go in discussion with Code Ninjas. So if you're just joining us, my name is Marty Flanagan. I'm the Vice President of Franchising with Code Ninjas. Myself, David Graham, and Bert Sensipon started Code Ninjas and really started forming Code Ninjas in October of 2016. We officially launched as a franchise in March of 2017 in the U.S. If you do a little bit of history with Code Ninjas, 3 years ago this month, actually 3 years ago on August 23rd, I received an email from David Graham and Bert Sensipon saying they had an idea of Code Ninjas. And we were off since then. We just obviously Code Ninjas has taken off. We recently sold our 500th, awarded our 500th territory, our 500th location. We currently have close to 200 locations open in the U.S. and in Canada. We have 260 franchisees, with 2 franchisees now in the U.K., which is exciting. Those locations will be opening probably this fall, which is a much faster growth than we expected. So it's very nice to have 2 franchisees already and about 5 more prospective franchisees that are in the final stages of their paperwork and moving forward with us. So why the buzz with Code Ninjas? Why have we accomplished what only 2% of franchise systems have ever accomplished in franchising, according to the IFA? And really, it's going to be right time, obviously. We're also bringing the right solutions to the problems on the marketplace today when it comes to teaching and educating our younger generation the value of coding and programming and that knowledge and the skill set that brings. Not to silo them into a future career of coding and programming, but we know that by multiple studies and just where the technology is moving forward, that this is going to be a part of their future. Understanding the world of coding and programming and this technology, having this knowledge and this base, this will be a part of their future. So Code Ninjas itself, we started basically just off as why we became a franchise. David Graham owned a school that taught adults how to code for many years, and that operated in 18 different cities here in the States. And that company was for 4.5 years focusing on just the vocational side of adults. We sold that company, and that's where we spawned Code Ninjas, because the questions came week after week, how do we get the younger generation involved? The tech awareness factor that you see out there today, tech awareness is the value and understanding of the skill set. In the U.S. and Canada, they're a little bit different. In the UK, there's a very, very high tech awareness factor, and so it was a natural fit for us to move right into the UK from the U.S. As we started to develop Code Ninjas in the beginning and develop our curriculum, to give you an idea, we have 5 different opportunities for families to get involved in Code Ninjas. We have our Parents' Night Out, which is really a simple, everybody I talk to in the UK, which I spend about 8 hours a day connecting with entrepreneurs throughout the UK. Parents' Night Out seems like it's going to be pretty popular. That is, in the UK, that is a part where you're really going to show off the culture of your Code Ninjas and how fun it can really be to be a part of it. it's kind of like babysitting, like a glorified babysitting, but it's really tech focused, and it's a parents' night out where parents are going to come drop their son or their daughter off, and they're going to have a fun few hours inside of our Code Ninjas and get a taste of our culture. We also do camps. Camps are what you see on the market today. They typically last about 5 days. They're half day or they're full days. They're about 5 days long. We have currently 14 different camps that we offer inside of Code Ninjas. Camps are going to be done whenever you don't have school, whether it's for a week or long. We also do workshops. Workshops are usually done whenever there's not school as well, but they're 1 to 3 days, either a half day or a full day. And again, we have 14 different camps and workshops that can be offered inside of your Code Ninjas and can be offered outside of your Code Ninjas. We have your playbook already done for you. So when you go out into the community and you want to do a camp or a workshop out in a school system, anywhere in the community, your playbook is written for you, and you're going to be able to execute those camps and those workshops out in the community. The drop-in program, which is going to be the most popular, we call that Code Ninjas Create. Code Ninjas Create, that program is our most popular. That's going to be your number one revenue-producing and participated program that you have in your Code Ninjas. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. We also have our Code Ninjas Junior program. Code Ninjas Junior starts at 4 years old. That's a non-reading based program, so that can be used for those who can't read and also, obviously the younger generation and special needs. The Code Ninjas Pro curriculum, that'll be being released here shortly, and that'll be for 12, 13, 14, up to, it could be 100 years old. And we also do birthday parties as well. So we have quite a few different programs that we offer that families can kind of test the water of engagement and what they want to do and how they want to move forward. As a franchise, we give you full support as a franchise. This is not about getting you open as fast as possible and letting you kind of do your own thing. We are a full support franchise. We have internal resources for you called Code Ninja University. You have individualized support, so people that are going to be helping you focus on what it is to operate your Code Ninjas on a day-to-day basis. We also offer podcasts. We also offer weekly conference calls. We also have newsletters. We also have conferences. And we do have a team in the UK. That team in the UK is going to be there to support you, guide you along through this process from real estate to opening your Code Ninjas. We have all of your pre-opening marketing templates and timelines, pre-opening timelines, everything you need to do to get your Code Ninjas up and running. Everything from your construction manual, design manual, internal, what you do on a daily basis, your internal agendas, your training programs for your team, all in place for you to be able to move forward with your Code Ninjas. When it comes to that curriculum, I want to touch on the one, which is that Code Ninjas Create, which is going to be your most popular program. The Code Ninjas Create is nothing like it on the market. There's not one thing in the U.S., not one thing in Canada, and not one thing in the U.K. that's like Code Ninjas Create. There's nothing, and let me tell you why. The Code Ninjas Create program is made up of 9 different belts. Inside each belt is a learned set of skills and programs. At the end of each belt, our students are required to build a game that shows their proficiencies in those skills and concepts. Every belt compounds and builds onto one another, so it's called cumulative learning. That curriculum sits on top of our game development platform, which is an LMS, a learning management system. It is the only learning management system like it in the entire kids coding world. Like I said, we call it our game development platform. And that's where their skills and their concepts that they're learning, this is how they're going to show that proficiency. This is how they're going to be able to show their parents what they're learning, what they're accomplishing, what they're doing, and it keeps them motivated to drive forward. This curriculum is 90% proprietary and exclusive to Code Ninjas. This curriculum has a exclusive robotics program built into it. This curriculum has proprietary textbooks. This curriculum takes about 3 to 4 years for our students to accomplish. This curriculum lives on our platform in the cloud, and our students access this through our dashboard. So when they come into Code Ninjas, they're going to scan their wristband, that unlocks the security measure and allows them to access the Code Ninjas curriculum when they sit down and they open their computer and they have their textbook. So they're going to be working through that. This curriculum is called a flexible learning system. There's no classes, there's no lectures, there's no group settings. This is a flexible learning system, so they're going to be coming in at their parents' convenience. They're going to come in, scan that wristband, open up their computer, we have our digital textbooks that they're going to use. They're going to guide them through. This is a self-paced but not self-taught program. They are going to get oriented on what to do, how to do it, and moving forward. The Code Sensei, which are going to be who they're going to be working with, Code Sensei's number one goal is to deliver an exceptional experience. The number two goal is to coach and teach the Code Ninjas curriculum. When it comes to the curriculum and coaching it, if the kids are not having fun, they're not engaged, hence why we're game-based, you will have a high turnover of students. We have an 8% month-over-month attrition for our drop-in program. For the number one revenue-producing stream, the number one engagement program inside of a Code Ninjas that's 3 to 4 years long, has an 8% month-over-month attrition. It's pretty incredible. We keep a very, very high number of our students on a month-over-month basis. Flexible learning system basically just means that they're coming in at their convenience. They're going to stay for 1 hour to 2 hours per week, whether that's coming in one day for 2 hours on a Saturday or during the week, or it's coming in one day a week for an hour. That's going to be up to the student and the parent, and you as a franchisee. And this is a subscription model, so parents are going to be paying a flat tuition rate per month. That tuition rate is going to be set by you. We give you suggestions. We give you a floor, so you can't go any lower, and we give you a ceiling. But that's going to be set by you based on your community, because not all communities are created equal. And it's going to be adjusted based on the participation level of their parent that the parents want to have for their son or their daughter. That curriculum itself, like I said, is the most popular. It is the most in-depth. They're going to be using JavaScript for about a year, year and a half. They're going to work into Lua for about a year, and then they're going to end in C# for about a year. They are learning the syntax of these languages, but the language is not our goal. The goal is to have them develop the skills that make a great coder and a great programmer and a great thinker. Really, it's about being a great thinker. And what we focus on are problem identification, problem solving, collaboration, leadership, time management. We want to develop those skills because they're fully transferable for the future on whatever they choose to do. If they want to pick up another language, those skills are transferable. So we focus on that skill set more than we focus on anything else. This also has collaboration tools built into it so they can work with other Code Ninja students. They can do projects together. Obviously, camps and workshops are going to be done. Those are done in a group setting and done together. But they also have other projects that they can work on. And also we do holiday hackathons and things very similar to that, so they can actually engage with students from anywhere from the U.S. and Canada and the U.K. So they're going to be engaging with multicultural and different countries, which is fantastic. So when it comes to Code Ninjas, these are some of the basic aspects of our curriculum. When it comes to the work that we've done in the UK, we've put a tremendous amount of work into understanding how to scale in the UK. We have franchise experience in the UK of over 10 years. We have over 20 years of commercial real estate experience in the UK. We very much understand how the model in the UK needs to be different than the model in the US and Canada. The Canadian model for Code Ninjas is different than the US, and the UK model is different than Canada and the US. We're sourcing everything locally, from our signage to our building requirements, what they call FF&E, those requirements. We also understand that the layouts may need to be a little bit different and adjusted in the UK compared to the US and Canada based on buildings. We understand where our locations need to be. We've worked with one of the most reputable planning companies in the UK, so we understand when we go to council what we need to be approved for. We have a professional opinion written up. We have our local UK corporation, our LTD. We have our local UK bank account, which If you know much about that, that was a feat in itself. So we've set ourselves up to be successful in the UK, and we are focused on partnerships. On August 26th, we have already 55 individuals attending our Discovery Day. 95% of those individuals have done a tremendous amount of work in terms of for where their Code Ninjas is going to be. We have the entire countryside already mapped out for Code Ninjas. So, and I used a local mapping company in the UK. So, and they actually specialize in childhood education and enrichment. So I've had them map out the entire countryside. I know exactly where the territories can be, where they should be, and how many we can have in the UK, pretty much already set and done. We have a local PR company, local insurance. We have build companies for furniture. So we have done a tremendous amount of work to set you up for, and our franchisees that we partner with in the beginning, for success. And we launched back in May. To have already 2 franchisees is pretty amazing, considering it took us 6 months to have 1 franchisee in the U.S. To have 2 already within a few months is pretty exciting. So that's the first part of this call. It's pretty much the same if you've listened to these in the past. I like to keep them very simple. I could literally rattle on for hours, but I really want to turn it over to you and allow you to ask any questions that you may have in regards to Code Ninjas. And it's pretty simple. What you would do is hit *6. When you hit *6, it virtually raises your hand, and then I can unmute you, and then you can ask whatever question you may have. These calls are live. These are not a recorded first 15, 20 minutes like most franchise systems do. It's a live call, so if you have questions, this is going to be your time to ask them. If I did such a fantastic job and nobody has any questions based on an email that you've received, something that you've read, something that I've said today, if there's no questions out there at all, then we'll wind down today's call so that you can go on with your evening. And again, August 26th, we'll be at the Metropole Hilton near Regent Park for our Discovery Day. And those Discovery Days are from 9 a.m. to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, if you have any questions, by hitting *6, that enables you to ask a question, and we do have a couple of questions here. Hi, you have a question? You may need to unmute me. Hi, do you have a question?
Hi, sorry. Yeah,
no,
I do
worries.
have a question, thank you. I've seen the sort of costs, the indicative costs, sort of like in US dollars, but I've not seen anything in sort of UK pounds or sterling. Is there anywhere where I can find that?
Yeah, well, first I want to apologize about that. I don't have anything on our main website for the costs yet, so I can put them up there. What I tell everybody is when you're looking at a Code Ninjas to open a Code Ninjas, it's not like the U.S. The U.S. is much more expensive. In the UK, I'm telling everybody, from all the research I've done, you're looking at about £100,000, give or take. That some franchisees will do it for less, some franchisees will do it for more. But your all-in costs, you want to have your baseline be about £100,000. And that includes your franchise fee, which includes travel for one person to come to the U.S. for new franchisee training. That's your fit out. That's inventory, outside signage. That's pretty much everything. Total turnkey for your Code Ninjas. And you don't just give us that money. I mean, that is paid. You pay that out when needed. And, obviously getting bids for making sure you're getting the best value as well. We don't require you to go with a certain fit out company.
Okay. No, thank you. I've got one other question, actually.
Sure.
Sorry. So,
please.
Is there any competition in the UK, or who would you say is the sort of closest sort of competitor to what it is that you're doing? Or are you, as Code Ninjas, just totally out there alone at the moment?
Well, I don't think we're ever going to be alone. What you see on the market today are camps and workshops. So anything you see in the UK today, which the US has way more competition, and same with Canada, way more competition than the UK. I was actually shocked at the lack of competition in the UK. But then as I dug into it, I saw why there's a lack of competition in the UK. When it comes to what's out there, everything you see, if you could look around, which I encourage you to, especially when you're looking in the market that you're considering, is you're going to see everything that's offered out there is a camp-based curriculum. It's fully duplicatable. It's not proprietary. Basically, it can be ripped off and done, they can start a price war with somebody across the street doing the same exact thing that you're doing. And that's the fear. There's nothing out there that's really like Code Ninjas that has a learning management system that has this total package together and a roadmap for you forward. There isn't that in the UK today. In Canada, there's a few. In the US, there's a few. And obviously, we've been dominant over those. And as you look into it more and more, the pathway that we have for you and the opportunity with having a full curriculum laid out for you makes it very simple to choose to go forward if it fits in your community and the numbers make sense, which we do that with you. The UK really gives us some flexibility there compared to other countries where we actually can share live data and live revenue numbers. So as we go down this path together, we can really sharpen the Excel pro forma and that information so you really get a good idea.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I've got one other question, if you don't mind.
Sure, please, go ahead.
Just under so Code Ninjas Create, so the 9 belts and talking about sort of like ultimately or potentially sort of like building games. If, for example, a child builds quite a unique game, is that something that can be brought to market, and is that something that you would help do?
It's actually part of the program. So when you go through Code Ninjas Create and you get to that black belt, you are releasing a game to market. So that's actually a part of the whole program where you will be doing that. Our students will be doing that.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, great. Awesome. Shoot.
The first thing is like the territories, like how is it decided? Like you said, there's already 2 UK franchises in the final stages to be like go live. So I just wanted to understand how are the territories decided, and like is it going to be on a county level, or and would you be able to share?
Yeah. Well, so to answer that question, there has to be a little bit of background to it, is understanding how we build our territories. Our territories are based off the students that are in our age range and off of what's called gross disposable household income or purchasing power in the UK. So those numbers all determine the size of the territory that's going to be offered, whether that's 1 mile, 2 miles, or 3 miles. When it comes to how our territories are done, and also if somebody has a 2-mile radius, let's say for example, and we don't stack our territories on top of one another, which means we don't like having our territories overlapping each other so they're fighting for the same community and the same students. Now in some cases that may happen if there's a highly dense population. Those numbers may happen. We haven't done that yet in the U.S. or in Canada, and we haven't done that in the U.K. But if there's a situation where the numbers are just so dense, we may have to put centers a little closer together. But typically, we like to keep them further apart to give our franchisees more opportunity.
Okay. Would you be able to share where these like 2 franchises are in the final stages?
Yeah, they're on. They're on our website. So Penner and Reading are already on our website. So those locations will be opening this fall. Finchley, Enfield, Oxbridge, Chesterfield, those ones are all right around the corner they're already in negotiations with some real estate and right around the corner. And then there's some up in Manchester that are in the process as well. But there's about 5 that are in the finishing kind of last stages. 2 that are already franchisees and 5 more that are in the last stages. And with having a Discovery Day coming up with 50 plus attendees, I'm assuming we'll have a lot more after that as well.
Is this Discovery Day, is it still open for registration, or is it like...
Yeah, but it's also by invitation only. So you do have to connect with whomever sent you an email. You do have to connect with them, and you would have to connect with them one-on-one. We'd have to make sure that your market is available, that you're a good fit, you fully understand Code Ninjas. We want to make, and obviously you have to sign an NDA before coming as well. So, but we have room for 64, and right now we're at 50, I think 54 or 55.
I actually found you guys on LinkedIn, and that's how I've registered on the call. So I don't have anyone in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, feel free to send me an email, Marty, MARTY, at codeninjas.com.
MARTY at codeninjas.com. Okay, I got it on the emails. Okay, that's fine. Great. One more question.
Sure.
If we wanted to if we have multiple people and we wanted to set up our own limited company and then channel this project through that, do you have any objections for that?
You can definitely have partners. That's not a problem. Both groups that are out there right now are partnership groups. Your LTD, your company, does have to be solely focused on Code Ninjas, but you can definitely have multiple partners for sure.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes. You've spoken quite a bit about the location and having the right design groups all laid out, and you've got the handbook ready to go. I was just wondering, are you open to partnering with schools so that kids can get the Code Ninjas experience either before or after school? Because in the area that I'm in, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, you can. So we allow our franchisees to operate the Code Ninjas camp-based curriculum, and the Code Ninjas workshops can definitely be done in the school system. But you have to have a Code Ninjas location. You can't be primarily just out of a school. You'd have to have a Code Ninjas location where you do obviously the drop-in program, birthday parties, parents' night out, camps, workshops, and you can go outside of your Code Ninjas with the camps and the workshops and go into the school system. You can definitely partner with schools, but you still have to have a location.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being patient. You have a question?
Yeah, hi. I have a couple of questions, please. First one is commercial. On what basis do you charge a franchisee fee, or on the basis of a certain turnover, or do you have a certain percentage?
Okay, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, is what is our franchise fee? Our franchise fee is £24,000. Our royalties are 8%.
8% of each, say, for example, student's fee.
It's 8% of your gross
fee.
Sales.
Okay.
Yep.
So initially we had to pay 24,000. Is that included in the 100,000 estimate that you gave at the beginning?
Yes, that's included.
And 8% on the gross yearly or monthly turnover, yeah?
It's monthly. Well, it's per transaction, but our system does everything automatically. You don't have to write a check or you're not going to get a bill in the mail. Everything is done automatically through our system.
Okay. And the second question is, when we select a site, does it have to meet certain standards like so many square meters, so much of space and things like that, or on certain floor or ground floor, or
Every location has to be approved by Code Ninjas for a Code Ninjas location.
And does Code Ninjas help us identify a location, or it's our homework that we need to do to identify a location?
No, you can definitely take advantage of our team that can help you do that. In the UK, so just so you understand it though, in the UK, it's a little bit different than other countries where you, the entrepreneur, typically have to pay for a commercial real estate agent to find, negotiate, and your space for you. So there's a lot of they put together packets and they go out and they go into their networks and they negotiate spaces and lease terms and they negotiate fit-out monies and free rent options. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. And in the UK is different than a lot of other countries, to where landlords, typically in like Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, the landlords pay the commissions to the commercial realtors. But in the UK, the franchisee entrepreneur actually have to pay those commissions up front for them to do any work for you. So we've got ahead of that, and we have a team member that has more than 20 years of commercial real estate experience in the UK. So we're just covering our costs with that. So as we start to work together, there is a little bit of a fee to that, but it really just covers our cost. It's not like a huge profit center. It's really just to get you into a space with the best terms possible so that you're saving money long term. And commercial real estate and planning and the counsel and having professional opinions by barristers, there's a lot of work there. So we did that work ahead of time and have resources for you to tap into.
Okay, that's great, actually. One last question, please.
Sure, please.
Yeah, so I understand this is a classroom plus lab-based training. So do you have a requirement, so for example, for every 5 kids, there has to be one tutor, or can one tutor manage the whole center if he or she is capable?
We do an 8-to-1 ratio for our drop-in program. There's an 8-to-1 ratio with that. When it comes to camps and workshops, our franchisees like to do 5-to-1.
Okay, so at the beginning, you said somebody has to travel to US to get trained. And will that person come back to UK and train the remaining 2 or 3 staff, or how does it work,
Yes, and it's very easy the way we have it set up. So yes, as a franchisee, you have to come to our new franchisee training in the US. Once we start to get a little bit more established in the UK, we'll probably have a new franchisee training in the UK. But currently, right now, that 24,000 pounds also includes, that 24,000 pounds includes travel for one person to the U.S. for our new franchisee training.
So
we're doing that for the first 15 franchisees.
So this one person will have to be the director or the owner of the franchisee, or the tutor, or who will be managing this? They have to be on the franchise agreement to come to new franchisee training. If you want it, at least one person on the franchise agreement has to come to new franchisee training. If you have a center director you want to bring with you, you can, but it's required for one person on the franchise agreement to come to new franchisee training. Okay, and how long is the training?
3 days.
All right, okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being patient. You have a question?
Yeah, hi. I missed the start of the conference call, so you might have covered it, but I just want to ask a question. I have 2 questions. One is from my understanding, you've been going as Code Ninjas for about 24 months, is it? Something like that?
Well, here in the U.S. and Canada, we launched in March of 2017, and in the UK, we launched in May.
Okay. So the general stability of the system, because it's quite a very big expansion, and obviously in other territories is very quick. So are you confident that the stability of the program and the curriculum and your franchise model is going to hold up?
Well, we have almost 200 locations open, and that really does test your stability and if it's going to hold up. When you have 200 locations open and 260 franchisees, that's a good test for you. So by the time you became a franchisee, let's hypothetically say you and I are best friends and kumbaya and we get along great and everything, we're moving forward, this all makes sense for you. By the time you open your doors for business, there'll probably be a couple centers open in the UK and probably another 25 to 30 open in the US and Canada. So it'll be, another almost 250 units open total testing the system on a regular basis. Like right now, Azure's down all across the country. So we can't do anything about that. I mean, that's bigger than us, right? So there's situations like that happen that we can't control. But our system has never failed. Azure is down, which it is right now. So that's messed with it. But typically, our system hasn't just blown up or anything like that. We have a lot of experience in this realm. So we're very much aware of what to look for and what to do to create a stable system.
Okay, so you're confident that expanding into the UK, there's going to be the support and the stability for. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, 100% confident. No doubt.
Cool. All right. My second question was the number of students per center. What is the kind of the number? I know it's how long is a piece of string question, but what do you find is the kind of average number of students to make a center work?
Well, we do that one-on-one. So that's a great question, and we do that one-on-one together. So I have a nice Excel pro forma. We go over comparable data for your market to other markets across the U.S. and Canada. So we do that. We do that one-on-one. So that is definitely something we go over, but I don't go over that in a general public call that's recorded. We do that individually.
Okay. Do you have one question? No? Okay. Yeah. No. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. You have a question?
Yeah. Hi. So it's almost just following on from the last question that was asked. So I was going to ask the same thing. Sort of, what's a typical turnover for Code Ninja Center? So I think I get that. In terms of the one-on-one session with you, how is that arranged? Is that simply just sending you an email, or how is that set up?
Yeah. So typically, when you can, if either myself or one of my team members is already engaged with you via email, just make sure you return, get a hold of them, return that to that email. And then typically what we do is we set up a call where first we make sure everything's in order. You have an NDA signed. We send you all the information. You can review it. We come back around. We go over that Excel pro forma together. We do the map together, look at the demographics. We can even look at live data together, so you're able to actually see what other markets that are similar in income and student count are like, how they're performing compared to yours. It's pretty smooth. It's actually really nice because the UK is one of the only countries that I can do that in. It's illegal to do that in the US and Canada, but the UK allows me to really sharpen that revenue by showing you live data. So it's pretty fun.
Okay, great. And I've got one other question, which is,
please,
in terms of, so we get to a point where we set up a center or setting up a center. What about interviewing sort of like the people that you need to be working in the center? Is that something you would help with, or is that something that's trained out?
There's always something we'll always give you help. Now, is it going to be the exact help that you need or want? Probably not all the time, but we're always going to give you help, assistance, and direction. We're never going to leave you in the dark. When it comes to finding a center director, we have job descriptions. We have profiles for who's going to be your best candidate. Code senseis are typically 16 to 22 years old. They have an ICT background, maybe a robotics background, but this is their passion, so they're pretty excited to even be a part of our culture and our environment inside of Code Ninjas. So those are not going to be a problem to find. Those are actually going to be your easiest hire. But we definitely give you assistance on the training agendas, what to do. We have a full team in the U.S. and we have a team in the U.K. that are going to help with you understanding your direction moving forward for support.
Okay, great. That's what I was after. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, I've just got a couple questions. So the first question is really around the commercial. So you mentioned that to kick off it's $24,000. That's for the franchisee fee, and then there's 8% gross. Is there anything around the monthly cost? Because you mentioned that the platform is hosted on Azure. I think you said. Is there a monthly cost around that, or is that something that you take care of? That's the first question. The second question is,
okay.
Is your software licensed? So does a student have to pay a license fee, or do we have to pay a license fee for each student to get on to the platform?
So no. So your 8% gross royalty covers everything that's owned and done by Code Ninjas. So you're not paying a support fee for Azure or anything. You're not doing that. That's all part of your gross royalty, the royalty percentage. When it comes to a license, the only time you're paying a license is if we don't own it. So for an example, when you're in the 9-belt program, there's one part of that, a small part, not a large part, not like the whole thing, about an 8-month period where you would pay $20 for a year each student that uses it. So there's no major license expenses or anything. Now, let's say you go out, just as an example, let's say you go out and find a curriculum that's a camp-based curriculum. And let's say it's, I don't know, coding boats or coding this robot that throws away the trash or does recycling or whatever you can dream up. And if there's a license that you would pay for that to have that as a camp, then of course you would have to pay that license fee. Code Ninja doesn't cover that for you. But if you, so there's only time a license is going to come into play is if we don't own it. And if we don't own it, then we're going to go back and we're going to use our buying power to get a reduced fee for that. So, but there are 90% of that one curriculum is all exclusive and proprietary of our Code Ninjas Create program. So you're not paying license fees unless there's some kind of curriculum that comes up, like coding the drone, for example. Coding the drones. Code Ninjas doesn't cover your drone payments and buying all your equipment and your drones for you. But we used our buying power. So if you choose to take advantage of coding the drones, you would have to buy the drones, but it's at a reduced rate because we used our buying power to buy that down. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, thanks for that. And then do you help with any finance or anything like that, or is that something that you let the entrepreneur go and do themselves?
Well, we actually have partnerships with a few financial institutions. We as Code Ninjas don't give you the money or borrow you the money directly, but we do work with and have partnerships with a few financial institutions where you would be able to loan the monies needed or part of the monies needed to open up your Code Ninjas.
Okay. And then the last question is around your Discovery Day. Are you planning any other Discovery Days apart from the 26th?
Probably the next one would probably be December or January. Now, if all of a sudden, but I'm going to say right now, if all of a sudden we get some overwhelming number of people that want to happen again, I don't care if I come out there every month. I live in northern Minnesota in the States. I'll get on a plane and come out and host a Discovery Day. If everybody wants to have Discovery Days and we're going to get 40 to 50 people every Discovery Day like we do here in the States, I'm more than happy to come out there every month. It's all about demand. And to have 55 individuals already is pretty incredible. So I'm assuming I'll be out there sooner, but I don't have a set date. We do them every single month here in Minnesota, in the U.S. For the U.S. and Canada, we do them every month. And we usually have 40 to 50 attendees each month. In the UK, it all depends upon how many people are interested. In the beginning, it can be a little bit slower. As things pick up, my team in the UK can also meet with individuals one-on-one as well. We have an office out there, so we can do that as well. But it's not like a Discovery Day. So we'll have mini Discovery Days, but not the big ones. Like this next one is hosted by myself, Bert Sensenpun, and David Graham. And we are the three that actually started Code Ninjas. To get us all in the same room on a regular basis is going to be difficult, but we'll do it as much as we can.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
All right. Thank you. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking your time to. If you have not been reached by anybody on my team, please email me, Marty, MARTY, @codeninjas.com. I know we're approaching 9 o'clock in the evening. Have a great evening. Thanks for your time. And if you want to make it to that Discovery Day, please reach out. I'd love to see you and meet you and have you learn more about Code Ninjas.